Jessie L. Weston's From Ritual to Romance. Continuing Chapter 8, The Medicine Man. To the healer did Sir Gawain teach his art of curing pain. And the parallel adventure related in Morian, Gawain heals Lancelot without the aid of any physician. Then Sir Gawain was greatly pleased that by his herbs pain could be eased, and by Lancelot's bleeding wholly cured, and healed the wounds he had endured. They ride to an anchorite's cell. They went therewith the single thought that at once the cure they sought would by Sir Gawain be wrought. The Dutch Lancelot has numerous references to Gawain's skill in healing. Of course, the advocates of the originality of Chrétien de Troyes will object that the references, though found in poems which have no connection with Chrétien and which are translations from lost French originals of an undetermined date, are one and all loans from the more famous poem. This, however, can hardly be contended of the Welsh triads. There we find Gwalchmai, the Welsh Gawain, cited as one of the three men to whom the nature of every object was known. An accomplishment exceedingly necessary for a medicine man, but not, at first sight, especially needful for the equipment of a knight. The only instance which I have found medicine directly connected with the knightly order is in the case of the warrior clan of the samurai in Japan, where members physically unfitted for the task of a warrior were trained as royal doctors, the folk doctors being recruited from a class below the samurai. This persistent attribution of healing skill is not, so far as my acquaintance with medieval romance goes, paralleled in the case of any other knight, even Tristan, who is probably the most accomplished of heroes of romance. The more thoroughly trained in all branches of knightly education is not credited with any such knowledge, and, as one may be well aware, is that the difference between medicine and religion wasn't demarcated at this point. No other knight save Gawain has the reputation of a healer, yet Gawain, the maiden's knight, the fair father of nurture, is at first sight hardly the personage one might expect to possess such skill. Why he should be so persistently connected with healing was, for long, a problem to me. Recently, however, I have begun to suspect that we have in this apparently motiveless attribution the survival of an early stage of tradition in which not only did Gawain cure the Grail King, but he did so not by means of a question or by the wielding of a broken sword, but by more obvious and natural means, the administration of a healing herb. Gawain's character of healer belongs to him in his role of Grail winner. Some years ago, in the course of my reading, I came across a passage in which certain knights of Arthur's court, riding through a forest, came upon a herb which belonged to the Grail. Unfortunately, the reference at the time I met with it, though it struck me as curious, did not possess any special significance, and either I omitted to make a note of it or entered it into a book with sundry others, went mysteriously astray in the process of moving furniture. In any case, though I have searched diligently, I have failed to recover the passage, but I note it here in the hope that one of my readers may be more fortunate. And when I share from this or anything else, I'm hoping that people will make better use of some of these things than I have, and to figure out things that I haven't, and share of these things. Especially with me, right? So comment a question as you will. It is perhaps not without significance that a mention of Peredur, Percival, in Welsh poetry may also possibly contain a reference to this healing office. I refer to the well-known Song of the Graves in the Black Book of Carmarthen, where the grave of More, son of Peredur, Penwettic, is referred to. According to Dr. G. Evans, the word Penwettic, or Perfidic, as it may be read, means chief healer. Peredur, it is needless to say, is the Welsh equivalent of Percival, Gawain's successor and supplanter in the role of Grail hero. I have no desire to press the point unduly, but it is certainly significant that entirely apart from any such theory of the evolution of the Grail legend as that advanced in these pages, a Welsh scholar could have suggested a rendering of the title of the Grail hero which is in complete harmony with that theory, a rendering also which places him side by side with his compatriot Gwalchmai, even as the completely evolved Grail story connects him with Gawain. In any case, there is food for reflection in the fact that the possibility of such an origin, once admitted, the most apparently incongruous and inharmonious elements of the story show themselves capable of a natural and unforced explanation. In face of the evidence above set forth, it seems impossible to deny that the doctor, or medicine man, did, from the earliest ages, play an important part in dramatic fertility ritual, that he still survives in the modern folk play, the rude representative of the early ritual form, and it is at least possible that the attribution of healing skill to so romantic and chivalrous a character as Sir Gawain may depend upon the fact that, at an early and pre-literary stage of his story, he played the role traditionally assigned to the doctor, that of restoring to life and health the dead, or wounded, representative of the spirit of vegetation. If I am right in my reading of this complicated problem, the mise en scene of the Grail story was originally alone from a ritual actually performed and familiar to those who first told the tale. This ritual, in its earlier stages, comparatively simple and objective in form, under the process of an instance upon the inner and spiritual significance, took upon itself a more complex and esoteric character. The rite became a mystery, and with this change, the role of the principal actors became of heightened significance. And if we look at these things, there's perhaps the story came first, perhaps the ritual came first. Either way, where mythology is being expressed. And if you are expressing mythology, it's not so ritualistic as, oh, I believe that I should do this, so I do this. Now, that may be sufficient, that you believe that this is a good thing to do and you do it. But the performance, the experience that's connected to it, and the meaning and purpose that you are serving in doing these things makes it all the much richer, now doesn't it? That of the healer could no longer be adequately fulfilled by the administration of a medicinal remedy. The relation of body and soul became of cardinal importance for the drama. The medicine man gave place to the Redeemer, and his task involved more than administration of the original herbal remedy. In fact, in the final development of the story, the pathos is shared alike by the representative of the vegetation spirit and the healer, whose task involves a period of stern testing and probation. If we wish to understand clearly the evolution of the Grail story, we must realize that the simple fertility drama from which it sprung has undergone a gradual and mysterious change, which has invested it with elements at once rich and strange, and that though folklore may be the key to unlock the outer porthole of the Grail castle, it will not suffice to give us the entrance to its deeper secrets. And chapter 8 has an appendix therein. While having no connection with the main subject of our study, the Grail legend, I should like to draw the attention of students to medieval literature to the curious parallel between the Rig-Veda poem of the medicine man, or Krauter Led, as it is called, and Restiboeff's Dist de le Eberie. Both are monologues. Both presume the presence of an audience. In each case, the speaker is one who vaunts his skill in the use of herbs. In each case, he has in view the ultimate gain to himself. Here are the opening lines of the medieval poem. Welcome, my lords, both great and small, young and old, you are welcome all. Pray do not think I would deceive, this fact you probably can perceive. As well as I, now sit down please, I shall not bore you, be at ease. I am a doctor. He has been long with the Lord of Care, where he won much gold. Impuil, Calabre, Lucerne. These herbs I did gang, such great virtues contain, that they cure every pain, and put ills to flight. There is no reference in the poem to a cure about to be performed in the presence of the audience, which does not, however, exclude the possibility of such cure being effected. It would be interesting to know under what circumstance such a poem was recited, whether it formed part of a popular representation. The audience in view is of a mixed character, young and old, great and small, and one has a vision of the quack doctor at some village fair, on the platform before his booth, declaiming the virtues of his nostrums, before an audience representative of all ranks and ages. It is a far cry from such a medieval scene to the prehistoric days of the Rig-Veda, but the messa and scene is the same, the popular seasonal feast, the doctor with his healing herbs, which he vaunts in skillful rhyme, the hearers drawn from all ranks, some credulous, some amused. There seems very little doubt that both poems are specimens, and very good specimens, of a genre, the popularity and vitality of which are commensurate with the antiquity of its origin.